In this case, both with a voice mic and earpiece to keep the noise that is observable down, and of course to maintain operational security with communications on a regular basis. You want to make sure that if possible you keep everything as far as sound discipline, noise discipline to a minimum. Now again, from top to bottom, and remember this, first of all, conventional land navigation technology should be carried by all parties. This isn't the Russian Army. Soviet military standard and doctrine dictates only a handful of people had the capability to read maps and use maps. The problem with that is, of course, if you lose the guys that know how to do it, well, everybody else falls apart when the time comes, and that's why it's so easy to beat most of these foreign forces. In our case, we need to see as much redundant training as possible. All of this technology should be integrated into as many different parties as possible so that when one falls, another person can pick the equipment up. Now, shifting a little bit, once we've got the troops in the field, one of the other things we're looking at, and of course we didn't get a chance to touch on this, are of course food and meal preparation. Almost all of you are familiar with the standard MREs now, and again, availability varies from one part of the country to the next in different forms and sources. And even if pieces are available, these are still a desirable pack-ready meal source. MREs are an option. Of course, old C-rats may still be available in different forms, and depending on where you are in the world listening to this tape, you may also remember that C-rations are still issued to many countries. So you may find either type of conventional combat meal available. In addition to this, though, one of the other solutions, and of course this has to do with many of the different subjects that we are dealing with, not just food, but general utility storage for long-term combat support. Canning operations can be made available to just about anybody in the Patriot movement across the nation. As you saw in an earlier part of this particular tape, we also discussed, of course, reloading techniques, and you'll be seeing different pieces on this progressively. Much like the reloading presses that you were witnessing, you are also going to find that the reloading capabilities for these cans are quite similar. It looks like a large single-stage reloading press. The can is mounted in place, and as you're probably seeing an image of this right now, a lid, once the material has been popped inside, is positioned over the open orifice. It is depressed. The rim is cased and recrimped, and what you have is a containment vessel separate from the outside environment. Advantages of this technology is, for instance, the can that I'm holding here is a standard number 10 can that contains, and I'll read it off for you, 3 medical tape, 15 conventional 3x4 dressings, and 3 each 4x7 dressings. It's been repainted in a standard primer paint, whatever is available off the shelf. In this case, from one of our distress resale facilities called Big Lot. For 88 cents a can, the paint just simply covers to prevent rust. Another point that should be made, standard nomenclature and symbols should be brought about so that you can identify the individual material that's inside. And in addition to that, of course, we have identified what's in the container in more than one location. And in my case, yes, we're a little paranoid about this idea. So we have it written in one location, then another location, then another location, and yet a fourth. This way there is no failure to identify what it is that has been contained inside this particular holding device, and it does not have to be compromised purely to identify the contents. Now, one point should be made. During the Bay of Pigs crisis, when the Cuban dissidents invaded Cuba and were betrayed by the U.S. government, we might make that point, one of the mistakes that was made, very intentional, and obviously it was sabotage, is that many of the containment cans that were issued to the Cuban rebels were mismarked. 30 caliber ammo cans that were ham tins of this type contained 50 caliber ammo. 50 caliber cans contained mortar rounds, and so on and so on. And in fact, it became very difficult because of mismarking for them to identify what was inside. Well, by you canning and identifying the product and making sure that it's marked, it's very simple for you to maintain control over the inventories that you have. And by the way, one of the recommendations, and ignore all the other keys on my ring, you might notice a little tool here that is presently available to just about everybody on this planet, though some of you soldiers from Vietnam and, of course, Korea will remember it quite well. This is the P38 can opener, and this particular device is priceless. Simple, easy to maintain, obviously. In fact, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, is a basic rule. The P38 can opener simply mounts onto the rim, And of course, by adding pressure, you can progressively open this can. And you'd be amazed when you're hungry as to just how effective this can opener can be. Well, one of the things that we do with all of these devices when we store them is we take 1 or 2 P38 can openers and we glue them to the top of the can or tape them in place. The advantage to this is that no matter which case you're thrown of 6 cans, you will always have the technology on board to open what is in the box. And in addition, progressively through issuing these particular containment vessels, the P38s are individually distributed to different parties. If at all possible, every person in your unit, not only combatants but auxiliary personnel and children, should be carrying one of these can openers in a key ring or on a lanyard, similar to what we're seeing right here, so that this tool is made available. Now, the little trick, by the way, is that the end of the P38 can opener, made of fine American steel, also works quite well as a screwdriver or a prying tool. So again, whatever you're carrying has multiple purposes. This is a very simple tool, very basic idea, but most people seem to forget this. Somehow, trying to use my fingernails to get into this number 10 can is not my first ambition in a combat zone. So again, keep it simple, stupid, pay attention to what's going on, and make these available to everybody. They're very economical, anywhere from 25 cents to 50 cents a piece, depending on where you are. The government made millions. Well, probably in dollars, more way than one. Now, as far as the cans themselves go, remember, you will find that these cans come in the raw. One of the other questions that's normally asked by people who see this system and also observe how they're being loaded and the fact that they're so effective and so simple to use is, do I have to use just number 10 gallon can, 1 gallon cans? No. There are a variety of different heads for the system that are available, and you can package all the way down to conventional tuna cans or soup cans as far as serving size goes, all the way up to and including ham tin cans.